What if the most dangerous enemy is not the one who hates you, but the one who smiles beside you? We have been taught to fear enemies, to expect attacks from outside. But Machiavelli knew better. The real threat comes from those who pretend to be allies. A colleague who praises your work, but harbors doubts behind your back. A friend who rejoices in your success until it begins to overshadow their own achievements. Machiavelli argued that one who makes another strong destroys themselves, not out of malice, but out of realism. Loyalty in the real world is a mask, a game, a tool that can be discarded at any moment. Today, we will delve into the ruthless genius of Machiavelli and uncover how to detect, neutralize, and defeat false friends and colleagues who can destroy you if you remain naive. This is not a guide for the faint-hearted. It is for those who are ready to survive and rule. Welcome to the tactics of Machiavelli. We all want to believe in loyalty, that people will stand by us because of shared experiences, personal connections, or moral principles. But Machiavelli did not believe this. In The Prince, he clearly stated that people are ungrateful, fickle, deceitful, and treacherous. They avoid danger and crave advantage. For Machiavelli, loyalty was not a virtue. It was a convenience that could be easily discarded when it no longer served personal interests. He believed that most people align with power not because they believe in you, but because they gain something from it. And when the benefit disappears, so does their loyalty. A historical example is Cesare Borgia. Let's talk about Machiavelli's favorite character, Cesare Borgia. At the height of his power, Borgia was surrounded by so-called allies, nobles, generals, and clergy. But Machiavelli noted that Borgia never fully trusted them. He used them strategically, granting them power when it was beneficial, and when they became a threat, he eliminated them. One such person was Ramiro d'Orco, a ruthless commander appointed by Borgia to pacify the Romagna region. Once the job was done and public hatred for d'Orco grew, Borgia had him executed. His head was displayed publicly in the town square. Machiavelli admired this, not for its cruelty, but for its clarity. Borgia understood that loyalty is fleeting. A wise ruler must rely on what they control, not on what others promise. In modern reflection, consider the corporate ladder. Think about your office, your career. How many people congratulated you on your promotion, but secretly felt threatened by it? How many colleagues offer help only if it costs them nothing? In a highly competitive environment, loyalty lasts only as long as you do not pose a threat. Once you cease to be a stepping stone, you become a threat or worse, an obstacle. That is why Machiavelli's strategy requires you to stop expecting loyalty and start measuring personal gain. Do not ask who loves you, but who needs you. And more importantly, who will benefit if you fall. The psychological angle, like cognitive dissonance, is where things get deeper. People can genuinely believe they are loyal. How is that possible? Because when ambition collides with attachment, the mind distorts reality. I did not betray her. I simply did what I had to do. He left me no choice. I had to protect myself. This is the justification of a false friend, and you will only hear it after the knife is in your back. The main takeaway is that loyalty must be earned again and again. What should you do? Stop assuming that loyalty is constant. Pay attention to changes in interests, power, and status. If a person's incentives change, their loyalty will soon change as well. Reward reliability, not attachment. Those who come through, complete tasks, and take hits for you are truly valuable. But always verify. As Machiavelli reminds us, a promise was a necessity of the past. Breaking one is a necessity of the present. There is an old saying, Better the devil you know than the devil you don't. But Machiavelli would clarify, it is better to have an enemy you can see than a friend who hides a knife. Because enemies are obvious. They openly challenge you. You prepare, defend yourself, and counterattack. But false friends shake your hand with one hand while stabbing you with the other. Machiavelli, being a realist, warned rulers not to fear open hostility as much as false loyalty. A lion cannot protect itself from traps. A fox cannot protect itself from wolves. So one must be a fox to recognize traps. The prince faces false friends or traps. They infiltrate your trust. They study your weaknesses and ambitions, gaining access to your plans. Then, at the right moment, they betray you in a way that is devastating because you did not expect it. An example is Julius Caesar and Brutus, one of the most legendary betrayals in history, and also the most personal. Julius Caesar did not die in battle. He did not fall at the hands of foreign invaders. He was struck down by his own senators, led by Brutus, a man he trusted like a son. And you, Brutus, was not a cry of pain. It was the gasp of psychological shock at the moment Caesar realized that the mask of friendship was a lie. Brutus portrayed himself as an ally to stay close. He smiled in Caesar's shadow, and when power shifted, he joined the knives. This is the danger of false friends. They use your trust as a weapon. A modern equivalent is subtle sabotage. In today's offices, this betrayal does not come with daggers, but with whispers. Your friend leaks your ideas to others. They tell management that you have problems to sow doubt. They support you when you are on the rise, but quietly step back when you face difficulties. These are the modern Brutus. They do not wear togas. They wear suits, smile, and say, "Let me know if you need help." The strategic response. How to deal with them. Do not succumb to emotion. Act analytically. Machiavelli would never act on feelings, only on facts and patterns. Watch for discrepancies between their words and actions. Check the accuracy in the details. Provide them with controlled information and observe whether it slips through. Ask for help when there is no obvious benefit. Monitor their reactions. Maintain your freedom of action. And never allow one person to become the sole guardian of your reputation, strategy, or success. Remember, an open enemy can wound the body, but a hypocritical friend wounds the mind. Machiavelli knew that one wound can be bandaged, while another can destroy your reign. Signs of betrayal are always present, but most ignore them. Why do people want to believe in illusion? They confuse charm with character, attention with alliance. Machiavelli did not make such mistakes. He understood that every hypocritical friend will eventually reveal themselves if you are attentive enough. Let us explore how to recognize these pretenders before they strike. The first sign is excessive flattery. Beware of a colleague who praises every action of yours, especially in public. People are so simple and inclined to yield to immediate needs that there will never be a shortage of victims for the deceiver. Machiavelli knew that those who constantly flatter usually have something to hide. Their goal is not to elevate you, but to diminish your vigilance. In modern workplaces, this looks like, "No one could handle this better than you. You are the smartest person here. We are lucky to have you with us." If it seems too sweet to be sincere, it probably is. The second sign is ambiguous support, a quiet absence. The hypocritical friend is present at celebrations, but absent in times of crisis. They appear when you are winning, but disappear when you are under attack or facing difficulties. Ask yourself, who defends me when I am criticized, and who disappears when I need support? Machiavelli did not confuse presence with partnership. He observed who supports you only when it is easy. The third sign is passive sabotage. A duplicitous colleague rarely attacks directly. They operate through plausible deniability, the art of betrayal, without leaving fingerprints. For example, I think she is wonderful, but some say she is not ready for this role. He is truly talented, but he has been under a lot of stress lately. This is how they instill doubt while pretending to be your defenders. Machiavelli would have recognized this instantly. These people seek to undermine your position while maintaining an image of sincerity. The fourth sign is a change in energy when you achieve success. Observe how they react to your good news. Do they genuinely rejoice or smile with reluctance? Do they share your excitement or quickly change the subject? Do they celebrate your victories or find subtle ways to overshadow you, with envy being the seed of betrayal? The true Machiavellian knows that envy among friends is more dangerous than hatred among enemies. Machiavelli's method involves psychological triggers to identify hidden enemies. Pay attention to their behavior when you no longer need them. Observe how they behave when you gain influence or an advantage. Hypocritical friends become tense when you no longer need them. Watch what they do under pressure. Stress reveals the mask. Betrayals uncover the true face. Practical application. A trap for middle managers in corporate environments. Middle managers often play both sides. They sing praises to upper management while whispering doubts to colleagues. They do not seek to fire you, only to neutralize you. They fear that you will rise above them. Therefore, they act in the shadows, using words as weapons. Machiavelli would never confront them openly. He would observe, document, and prepare to respond before they realized they had been exposed. The lesson: the first way to assess the mind of a ruler is to look at those who surround him. Prince. This is relevant in your life as well. Your strength is linked to the quality and loyalty of those closest to you. Identify potential traitors in your circle. It is not wise to confront them directly. Machiavelli rarely recommended open conflict unless absolutely necessary. Instead, he taught rulers to use strategic distancing, controlling through distance. The prince must be wise enough to benefit from the untrustworthy. In other words, you do not need to exclude them from your life. Just keep them close enough to observe, but at a sufficient distance to prevent harm. This is the hidden power. When you distance yourself from those who thrive on access, they become unstable. False friends depend on proximity to gather information, remain significant, or manipulate. By reducing access, you plunge them into uncertainty, limit their influence, and regain control over your image and plans. Distance becomes both a shield and a lever. For example, Louis XI of France. Machiavelli admired Louis XI for this tactic. Louis surrounded himself with self-serving nobles but never allowed anyone to become too close. He divided power, kept informants in every camp, and managed influence like a chess master. As a result, no ally became powerful enough to betray him effectively. Distance was not coldness, it was strategic survival. This practice controlled access. In the modern business world, it manifests in controlling information and emotional boundaries. If you suspect a colleague is undermining you, do you accuse them? Know that this creates noise, conflicts, and portrays you as insecure. Instead, stop sharing confidential information. They cannot use what they do not know. Steer conversations, keeping them lively yet vague. Exclude them from decisive decisions. They lose influence and do not realize it until it is too late. You do not sever the friendship. You simply disconnect them quietly. Remember, never give full access. Machiavelli would argue that no one, not even your closest friend, should have full access to your thoughts, plans, or intentions. He understood a simple truth. The more people know your thoughts, the easier it is to manipulate you. Therefore, distance is not just about removing threats. It is about maintaining secrecy, leverage, and control. The main idea is that strategic distance allows you to observe without getting entangled, to maintain respect while eliminating risks, and to keep power where it belongs, with you. In the world of Machiavelli, friendship may change, but dominance must remain constant. Machiavelli did not believe in waiting for blows to come from behind. He thought it necessary to act first, not out of paranoia, but from cold necessity. All strikes should be delivered at once so that their bitterness is less palpable afterward. For a ruler, it is not a matter of timing, but a way to eliminate threats before they grow into something larger. A discovered false friend poses not just a personal danger. They can poison your reputation, steal your opportunities, and alter how others perceive you before you have a chance to respond. What does it mean to strike first in the Machiavellian method? It is simple. Prevention is power. As soon as you notice signs of deceit, act swiftly, silently, and accurately. This may mean cutting off their access to important information, excluding them from strategic meetings, replacing them in joint projects, or reconsidering your public engagements with them. If the situation escalates, expose them indirectly by revealing subtle truths that will show their double game. Without the slightest hint of pettiness, the goal is not destruction, but containment and dominance. A lesson from Machiavelli through Cesare Borgia. Let us return to Cesare Borgia, a master of strategy and preemptive strikes. When he conquered Romagna, he appointed commanders to ensure control over the region. But as soon as their usefulness began to wane and he suspected their growing ambitions, he eliminated them. Before they could turn against him, his most famous move was the elimination of Ramiro de Orco, a brutal enforcer. Why? Because Machiavelli noted that violence used to gain power must be accompanied by violence to solidify that power. Cesare understood that hesitation gives enemies time to organize. Speed disrupts their momentum. Imagine you discover that your ally at work is leaking your plans. They are not sabotaging you openly, but the signs are clear. While Machiavelli does not imply confrontation, instead, you quietly change your strategy, supplying them with outdated or false information, and watch what leaks out, quietly aligning yourself with more influential players. When they realize they have been isolated, it is already too late, and you have outmaneuvered them, being 3 steps ahead. The psychological level of anticipation neutralizes threats. Most people wait for irrefutable evidence before acting, but Machiavelli warns against this. A wise person does immediately what a fool does last. False friends test your boundaries. If you allow small betrayals to go unpunished, they will escalate. A proactive approach is not impulsive, but rather planned. You do not react emotionally. You respond tactically with precision. Do not wait for betrayal to protect yourself. By then, it will be too late. Act in advance, act wisely, and do so in a way that preserves your reputation while undermining theirs. In the world of Machiavelli, it is not about looking good, but about remaining influential. If you want to survive betrayal, stop building alliances based on emotion. Machiavelli did not believe in sentimental loyalty, and you should not rely on it either, as power and stability are more important than comfort. He was clear on this matter. A ruler must have no other goal or thoughts besides war, its institutions, and discipline. Substitute the management of power for war, and the lesson becomes obvious. Your network should be strategic, not emotional, redefining loyalty as utility rather than attachment. For Machiavelli, loyalty is not about love, but about mutual interest. The people you trust the most should benefit from your success, rely on your influence, and have something to lose if they betray you. If they are emotionally loyal but have nothing to lose by harming you, they are a burden. If they are emotionally cold but deeply invested in your success, they are an asset. Machiavelli redefines friendship as an alliance for a purpose. Evaluate a useful ally against an emotional anchor. Ask yourself about each close person. Do they provide you with leverage, access, trust, skills, or intelligence? Are they results-oriented rather than simply offering emotional support? If the answer is no, then you have emotional anchors in your boat, and when the waters become turbulent, they will pull you down. The historical model is Cardinal Richelieu. Take Cardinal Richelieu, known as the power behind the French throne. He created a court of advisors, informants, and ambassadors, based not on friendship, but on functionality. Each person had a clear role. Every alliance was transactional, and if someone did not serve the state or threatened its power, they were replaced without ceremony. Cold? Yes. Effective? Certainly. That is how Richelieu maintained power behind the scenes for over 2 decades in a surrounding full of snakes. Translate this to business and strategic partnerships. In business, this means choosing co-founders who complement your skills rather than those you simply like. Collaborate with mentors who enhance your reputation. Hire not for cultural fit, but for measured contribution. Machiavelli would never hire a friend if that friend did not bring value to the battlefield. Emotional control is key. Let's clarify. This does not mean becoming heartless. It means being strategic about where your heart resides. Have true friends outside of your sphere of influence. But you choose those whose interests align with yours, whose survival depends on your rise. This way, you will create a circle that protects you rather than disappoints you. Conclusion. Machiavelli does not ask if I am liked by them. He asks if I need them and if they are needed for something important. Attachment fades, but the levers of influence remain. In Machiavellianism, power comes not only from strength, but also from secrecy. He understood that whoever controls the flow of information controls perception, behavior, and outcomes. Therefore, it is important for a ruler not to possess all the good qualities, but it is crucial that he appears to have them. Princes, translations, people do not necessarily need to know the truth. It is important for them to see what benefits you. The power of mystery, a false friend, or duplicitous colleagues are weak without access. And I need information about your plans, weaknesses, internal dilemmas, hopes, and fears. Without this data, they will not be able to predict your next move, undermine your decisions, or use your doubts against you. That is why Machiavellians never fully reveal their intentions. They speak half-truths, demonstrate carefully crafted emotions, and protect their strategic opacity like a crown. A historical parable, Napoleon Bonaparte. Napoleon, perhaps one of the greatest military minds in history, was also a master of disinformation. In major battles, he often spread false strategies to manipulate the enemy's preparations. One well-known example is before the Battle of Austerlitz. Napoleon feigned weakness to lure the opponent into a trap. The result was a decisive victory, not due to brute force, but thanks to clever deception. This is pure Machiavelli, a practical application of strategic disinformation. In your life, this means do not share your dreams with colleagues. They may not support them. Do not explain every step you take. People can only block those plans they understand. Use selective disclosure. Give different people different pieces of the puzzle. This way, no one but you will have the complete picture. You become unpredictable, and in the game of power, unpredictability is both a shield and a sword. A psychological tactic. Silence as control. This is a Machiavellian move that almost no one uses when an answer is expected from you. Maintain silence. When asked for details, provide only direction. When clarity is sought, offer curiosity. People do not like uncertainty, and in their discomfort, they reveal much more than they should. Machiavelli constantly used this dynamic. A ruler who speaks too much provokes rebellion. A leader who speaks too little evokes fear and admiration. Guard your strategy as a king guards his throne. Speak less, reveal less, observe everything, because power is not always seized. Sometimes it slips away. Betrayal can be painful, but for a Machiavellian, it is not the end, but an opportunity. As soon as someone reveals their true face, you no longer need to guess. You now control the situation. Machiavelli did not waste time lamenting lost trust. He focused on how to turn pain into strength. A wise person always follows the paths of the great and imitates those who have reached the heights. Princes and great individuals do not crumble under the weight of betrayal. They use it to their advantage. Step 1. Control the narrative. When you are betrayed, do not just react. Respond strategically. Remain calm, speak less, and then quietly reframe the story. Your goal is not to prove your point, but to present the betrayal in a way that strengthens your authority. Suppose a colleague takes credit for your work. Do not seek emotional revenge. Document everything. Subtly reveal the facts to the right people. Let them uncover the truth themselves and change their perception. You remain calm. They appear exposed, and you exit the situation calculated rather than chaotic. A historical example is Steve Jobs in 1985. Jobs was betrayed by his own board and was ousted from the company he founded, Apple. Many would have disappeared, but Jobs took a different route. He created Next, led Pixar, and when Apple stumbled, they brought him back. But he did not return as an employee. He returned as a savior. He used betrayal to achieve success elsewhere and made Apple come back to him. This is not revenge. This is strategic dominance. Step 2. Extract information. When betrayal occurs, emotions run high, and people start to talk too much. This is your opportunity to glean motivations, alliances, and weaknesses in their network. Think like a strategist. Who benefited from this betrayal? Who rose when you fell? These questions turn betrayal into a map, showing who is truly loyal and who is pretending. Step 3. Punish selectively. Machiavelli did not advocate for forgiveness, but he also did not suggest blind punishment. If you inflict harm, do it decisively and by all means necessary. If you grant a favor, do it gradually. Punish with purpose. Make an example of one to warn others. Sever ties not in anger, but in full view of everyone, to show what betrayal is worth. But never go overboard. Emotional outbursts give your enemies ammunition. Strategic revenge makes everyone think twice before crossing you. Remember, betrayal is not just an attack. It is a mirror reflecting who is real, where you are weak, and it gives you leverage if you know how to use it. A Machiavellian does not fear betrayal. He turns it into a lever. You have seen the signs, studied the tactics, and now you know that not everyone around you is trustworthy. Machiavelli's eternal warning echoes through every betrayal, every false smile, every friendly hand slowly tightening around your throat. A promise made in the past was a necessity, and a word broken in the present is also a necessity. What does this mean in the modern world? This means that people will support you. As long as it benefits them, they will applaud your successes. As long as their own interests are not overshadowed, they will swear loyalty. Until their ambitions say otherwise. If you are not prepared, you will be caught off guard. But if you have observed carefully and understood the lesson, you possess what many lack: clarity. Clarity to trust only what is proven, not what is promised. To measure loyalty by incentives, not words. To remain calm in betrayal and turn it to your advantage. Build alliances based on benefit, not emotions. And above all, never reveal all your cards. The greatest gift of Machiavelli was not cruelty, but understanding. Understanding that for survival and dominance, one thing is essential: pragmatism. Not everyone deserves access, not every friend is sincere, and not every betrayal is a defeat. In the end, it is not the most beloved who remain, but the most prepared. Survive the pretenders, rule in silence, and strike with precision. If this has changed your view of the people around you, if it has made you think like a strategist rather than a sentimentalist, then it is time to take the next step. Start acting, protect your plans, and build your circle differently. Let us become a community of strategic thinkers, not victims. And remember, in a world full of masks, a Machiavellian does not trust the face. He watches the hands and controls the game.